Alison Arngrim. I'm in my living room, and I have bonnets. And it's 1:30. It's 1:30. It's sure. It's 1:30. Well, I'll put it on a second. Yes. There you all are. You know it's time. The next book. We're starting the next book. My hair. It's so long. I kind of like it. We're starting the next book. I'm waiting. I gotta wait on you. There you all are. Hey. So Dean is awesome. He is everything. He is Almanzo. He is so Almanzo. And we do have Almanzo stuff coming up because, happy golden years. Heavy Almanzo action. So, we'll let him have a little fun over there, too. Can't deny the man that, after all these years that he's given to the memory and the legacy of Laura Ingalls Wilder and Almanzo. Gotta let the guy do some reading. But Nellie is back in this one. So yay! Hi, how are you? So I'm back. So we will be reading Little Town of the Prairie, which I love. But we must address things. What do we have? Well, first off, today's Friday, June 12th. And Friday, June 12th is National Red Rose Day. That's lovely. National Jerky Day. And it doesn't say what kind. So turkey jerky, beef jerky, whatever you like. National Loving Day. That's every day here. It is every day in my house. It's National Loving Day. And it is also, I'm so excited, National Peanut Butter Cookie Day. Now, you remember, I was on here and I had the oatmeal raisin. I made those, but I also had made peanut butter chocolate chip. Well, I saw last night that today was Peanut Butter Cookie Day. And look, these are much better. Look, they have the official, correct peanut butter cookie fork things where you take the fork. Yeah, and I used different cookie sheets. They came out so much better. They're not so, it's just a regular, really shiny cookie sheet. Oh, yeah. And a big silver cup of milk. 10 cup of milk, peanut butter cookies, can't beat it. Now, I'm also excited, because, yes, there are bonnets on the store site. There are bonnets. We have more bonnets. So we have bonnets in stock if you go to my store. Also, we have some new bonnets. We have a new item. Never know. We have a new item. We got a couple tin cups. I ordered more books. We're going to have plenty of books. We have this. We have now, I'll wave on these at you real quick. These other books, because the bonnets are from Walnut Grove. They're from the Laura Ingalls Wilder Museum in Walnut Grove, Minnesota. But I have indeed a new bonnet. I picked up some of these from the lovely people at the Laura Ingalls Wilder Museum in Mansfield, Missouri. We're calling them the Missouri bonnet. Now, they're different. I call them Missouri. This is the Minnesota bonnet, the Missouri bonnet. Now, they are, to be fair, they are made in China. But they love Little House on the Prairie in China, too. I get mail from there, so it's true. And they are sort of more a breezy, lighter kind of summer version with a good, flying nun kind of brim. They are a breezy, lighter summer. They're very light. They're pastelly. They're very pastelly. So take a look. That what you into. We got two kinds. So, thank you. We will start reading the book, but as I'm always thanking people, we have to thank people. A lot has happened. The other day I got a box from Carrie, not baby Carrie, Carrie Wilcox in North Carolina. In fact, she's in a place in I've been to that place in North Carolina, just saying. She wrote me a beautiful, beautiful letter. Thank you so much. And she made stuff, she knows I like the sock monkeys. She sews, and she made, apparently, here, look at this is great, a sock monkey pattern fabric bag. This is a fabulous tote bag thing. It's gorgeous tote bag. But no, she did not stop there. Carrie sent me these, and I screamed because there are two of them, one for me and the husband. Yes. Get up there. Yes. It is a sock monkey mask. Sock monkey fabric safety mask. Thank you. It is adorable. It's fantastic. So, there you are. If you're getting the newsletter, you know all about Sock Monkey and the saga of Sock Monkey and all the craziness. So, thank you. You guys are so sweet, and you send the most beautiful things, and I will wear that. I'll be going to the post office and the store, I'm sure, this weekend, and that mask will go on my face. So, now, we'll have Cookie, and we'll read some Little Town on the Prairie. Little Town on the Prairie, we're still in the same place we've been in De Smet there. And we're gonna, she's getting older, Laura's getting older, and they're now not starving anymore because Cap Garland and Elmanza Wilder saved everybody's life, and it was cool. I have a plate of cookies. I put my cookies on. What the heck is that? That is the depot, the train depot. It's Train Depot. Train Depot Museum in Sleepy Eye, Minnesota. Yes, when they would go, I'm going to Sleepy Eye. We're going to Mankato. We're going to Sleepy Eye. Sleepy Eye is real. I went to Sleepy Eye. They were really nice to me, and they gave me stuff. They gave me this, and they gave me this thing here, and they gave me the plate. And Sleepy Eye was a Native American chieftain who, I don't know, had bedroom eyes. Sleepy Eye. I don't know. He was called Sleepy Eye. Alrighty. So much excitement. So many things. People giving me things. Ah! Okay. Well, the first chapter in Little Town on the Prairie, and you see everybody's big grown-up girls now, is called Surprise! One evening at supper, and it's going to be a surprise. One evening at supper, Pa asked, how would you like to work in town, Laura? Work in town? Wait, what? Laura could not say a word. Neither could any of the others. They all sat as if they were frozen. Grace's blue eyes stared over the rim of her tin cup. Wait, that would be like this. That's exactly what that would look like. Carrie's teeth stayed bitten into a slice of bread. They're in shock. They're in shock. Carrie's teeth stayed bitten into a slice of bread. And Mary's hand held her fork stopped in the air. Ma let tea go pouring from the teapot spout into Pa's brimming cup. Just in time, she quickly set down the teapot. Like, out of a movie. He says, Laura, you want to work in town? And they all went, freaked out. What did you say, Charles? She asked. I asked Laura how'd she like to take a job in town, Pa replied. A job? For a girl in town? Ma said. Why, what kind of a job? Then quickly she said, no, Charles, I won't have Laura working out in a hotel amongst all kind of strangers. Oh, who said such a thing, Pa demanded. No girl of ours will do that, not while I'm alive and kicking. Oh, of course not, of course, Ma apologized. You took me so by surprise. What other kind of work can there be? And Laura's not old enough to teach school yet. All in the minute before Pa began to explain, Laura thought of the town and of the homestead claim where they were all so busy and happy now in the springtime. And she did not want anything changed. She did not want to work in town. And that's like literally a whole chapter, so obviously I'm going to have to read more than 2 here. Yikes. And it's true. Jobs for women, Laura's not, she's still a teenager, still practically, because she's 14. She's not even 16, because teaching, you need to be 15, 16. So she's not even that old. So someone just said, oldest profession. But that was the thing. When young ladies went to work in town, well, maybe if your folks owned a store, you might work part-time in the store. Sewing was big. Working in a hotel, working as a maid was big. And of course, Mom's having a fit because remember when the girls wanted to work in the fields and Ma started talking about foreigners? This is the foreign girls. Yeah, so it was a whole class thing of which kind of young ladies worked in town. There were a lot of young ladies working in town, but they were considered very, very poor women that were forced to work in town. No nice women worked in town. But you could work at the hotel, you could work at the desk, you could be a maid, you could cook. Cooking was big, sewing was big, and yes, there were the ladies who went out west to perform certain functions for the menfolk like the miners and the people building the railroad. And their mothers generally had a fit over that. So, hey, my great-grandmother came from back east in Connecticut, and she took a ship to California. All the way, there was no Panama Canal. She took a ship all the way around the bottom of South America by herself to go to San Francisco. And she got a job and made enough money to send for her younger sister. She went alone. She was 15 What? Don't know. Know that my grandma was born in San Francisco, and then she married a nice Scottish-Canadian guy, and then everybody else was Canadian after that. But great-grandma took a ship by herself, 15, 16 years old, to San Francisco, and I remember as a kid, I said, what the heck did she do in San Francisco? Gorgeous, like, blonde 16-year-old in the 1800s, and to make enough money to send for her sister. And everybody said, we don't know. Hey, maybe she struck gold. I don't know. Chapter 2. Springtime on the claim. So thank heaven it's springtime. We just went through really a long, long winter where people were starving. So yay, it's springtime. After the October blizzard last fall, they had all moved to town, and for a little while, Laura had gone to school there. Oh, they recapped the other book in case you were in the store in the 1930s and you bought this and you had not read the rest of the series. So Laura had gone to school there. Then the storms had stopped school, and all through that long winter, the blizzards had howled between the houses, shutting them off from each other. So that day after day and night after night, not a voice could be heard, and not a light could be seen through the whirling snow. As we all heard Dean Butler read to us. All winter long, they had been crowded in the little kitchen, cold and hungry, and working hard in the dark and the cold to twist enough hay to keep the fire going, and to grind wheat in the coffee mill for the day's bread. It's like scenes from last week's show. All that long, long winter, the only hope had been that sometime winter must end. Sometime blizzards must stop. The sun would shine warm again, and they could all get away from the town and go back to the homestead claim. Now it was springtime. The Dakota prairie lay so warm and bright under the shining sun that it did not seem possible that it had ever been swept by the winds and snows of that hard winter. How wonderful it was to be on the claim again. Laura wanted nothing more than just being outdoors. She felt she never could get enough sunshine soaked into her bones. Now, it's funny, well, maybe not funny, but it is amusing in a way, that she says, sunshine soaking into her bones. Because what does sunshine give you? Vitamin D. It's the big source of vitamin D, that and fortified milk. And people can get vitamin D deficiencies. Back then, they got serious vitamin deficiencies and got very, very, very sick. And if they didn't get enough milk and they didn't get enough food and they didn't get enough sun, they got like serious vitamin D deficiencies, and it's very bad for your bones. Nowadays, people still get vitamin deficiencies, and a big thing, even in wealthy cities and developed places, even here in Los Angeles, the doctor says, sometimes you might be getting just a little less vitamin D than you need. Like maybe you need a little more vitamin D. Great for the skin, great for the immune system, and really the bones. So yes, literally, she needed more sunshine in her bones. Again, my crazy family, my father, the picture back there, orphanage, not enough milk, never went outside, he got adopted, he had rickets. What are rickets? That is an extreme vitamin D deficiency. So yes, sunshine in your bones, because that is 100% a thing. And also, how often they didn't have a cow or the cow didn't give milk. So yes, she was not kidding. In the dawns, when she went to the well at the edge of the slough to fetch the morning pail of fresh water, the sun was rising in a glory of colors. Meadowlarks were flying, singing up from the dew-wet grass. Jackrabbits hopped beside the path, their bright eyes watching, and their long ears twitching as they daintily nibbled their breakfast of tender grass tips. She loves describing the sunrise and the sunset, so the long winter had to have driven her just about crazy, because that's Laura's thing, is watching the sunrise and the sunset. She couldn't see nothing. She couldn't even tell what day it was. So, eek. Laura was in the shanty only long enough to set down the water and snatch the milk pail. She ran out to the slope where Ellen the cow was cropping the sweet young grass. Quietly Ellen stood chewing her cud while Laura milked. Warm and sweet, the scent of new milk came up from the streams, hissing into the rising foam, and it mixed with the sense of springtime. That makes me need another sip of milk. Oh, that's good. Laura's bare feet were wet and cool in the dewy grass, and the sunshine was warm on her neck, and Ellen's flank was warmer against her cheek. She put her face right up against a cow when she milked. On its own little picket rope, Ellen's baby calf bawled anxiously, and Ellen answered with a soothing moo. Meh! moo, meh, moo, 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 a soothing moo, moo. When Laura had stripped the last creamy drops of milk, she lugged the pail to the shanty. Ma poured some of the warm new milk into the calf's pail. Well, yes, they give the baby cow some of the milk, his milk. The rest she strained through a clean white cloth into tin milk pans, and Laura carefully carried them down cellar while Ma skimmed thick cream from last night's milk. Then she poured the skim milk into the calf's pail, and Laura carried it to the hungry calf. So they gave the calf a bunch of milk, but it was cream. And that's what that whole milk pan was, to let the cream rise so you could make butter. And there's no cream in the sling. It's not bad. But that's why they got so excited about milk. Sunshine, milk, because they were all like going to get rickets and malnutrition and vitamin D deficiency. Teaching the calf to drink was not easy. That's right, it's just a baby calf. But always interesting. The wobbly-legged baby calf had been born believing that it must butt hard with its little red pole to get milk. Oh, dear. So when it smelled the milk in the pail, it tried to butt the pail. Laura must keep it from spilling the milk if she could, and she had to teach it how to drink because it didn't know. It's used to just nursing. It's weaned. She dipped her fingers into the milk and let the calf's rough tongue suck them, and gently she led its nose down to the milk in the pail. The calf suddenly snorted milk into its nose. Moo! Sneezed it out with a whoosh. Ah, moo, choo! Ah, there's that ah, moo. Oh, no. Sneezed it out with a whoosh that splashed milk out of the pail. And then, with all its might, it butted into the milk. It butted so hard that Laura almost lost hold of the pail. A wave of milk went over the calf's head, and a splash wet the front of Laura's dress. So, patiently, she began again, dipping her fingers for the calf to suck, trying to keep the milk in the pail, and to teach the calf to drink it. In the end, some of the milk was inside the calf. Oh, the poor baby calf. Oh, the baby calf. It was like, trying to teach a kitten to eat. Yeah. Then Laura pulled up the picket pins. One by one, she led Ellen, the baby calf, and the yearling calf, to fresh places in the soft, cool grass. She drove the iron pins deep into the ground. The sun was fully up now. The whole sky was blue, and the whole earth was waves of grass flowing in the wind. And Ma was calling, "Hurry, Laura, breakfast's waiting." In the shanty, Laura quickly washed her face and hands at the wash basin. She threw out the water in a sparkling curve, falling on grass where the sun would swiftly dry it. Just fling that thing out there, yeah. She ran the comb through her hair over her head to the dangling braid. There was never time before breakfast to undo that long braid, brush her hair properly, and plait it again. She would do that after the morning's work was done. Sitting in her place beside Mary, she looked across the clean red check tablecloth and the glinting dishes at little sister Carrie and baby sister Grace. With their soap-shining morning faces and bright eyes. Oh, they're all like fresh scrubbed. That's what they are, yes. She looked at Pa and Ma, so cheerful and smiling. She felt the sweet morning wind from the wide open door and window, and she gave a little sigh. She's older now. Look at that braid. Look at that. She's not little baby Laura with the braids anymore. That's all gone. She's, back there. Pa looked at her. He knew how she felt. "I think myself it's pretty nice," he said. "It's a beautiful morning," Ma agreed. Then after breakfast, Pa hitched up the horses, Sam and David, and drove them out on the prairie east of the shanty, where he was breaking ground for sod corn. Ma took charge of the day's work for the rest of them, and best of all, Laura liked the days when she said, "I must work in the garden." They really appreciate spring. I gotta say, that's one thing. After that terrible winter, they are properly appreciative and grateful of the sunshine in the spring. They're like, "Oh, finally." I mean, they're just like, "Let's go outside. Yay." This is so good. That's true. Someone just mentioned, wow, their cow has 2 babies. And don't mention there being a bull. Well, It was the 1930s, and the books were targeted toward kids. Maybe they just kind of edited that little bit out there. Although I'm sure farm children in the 30s knew perfectly well where those baby cows came from. So the gardening. Mary eagerly offered to do all the housework so that Laura could help Ma. Oh, Mary was blind. See, it's like in case you only bought, in case you weren't here and didn't know, Mary was blind. Even the days before scarlet fever had taken the sight from her clear blue eyes, she had never liked to work outdoors in the sun and the wind. Now she was happy to be useful indoors. Cheerfully she said, "I must work where I can see with my fingers. I couldn't tell the difference between a pea vine and a weed at the end of a hoe, but I can wash dishes and make beds and take care of Grace." She also could still sew, which is pretty impressive. Carrie was proud too, because although she was small, she was 10 years old and could help Mary do all the housework. And she can talk now. So Ma and Laura went out to work in the garden. People were coming from the east now to settle all over the prairie. They were building new claim shanties to the east and to the south and west beyond Big Slough. Every few days, a wagon went by, driven by strangers going across the neck of the slough and northward to town and coming back. Ma said there would be time to get acquainted when the spring work was done. There was no time for visiting in the spring. Pa had a new plow, a breaking plow. It was wonderful for breaking the prairie sod. It had a sharp-edged wheel called a rolling coulter. Rolling coulter that ran rolling and cutting through the sod ahead of the plowshare. The sharp steel plowshare followed it, slicing underneath the matted grass roots, and the mold board, that's what it says, the mold board lifted the long, straight-edged strip of sod and turned it upside down. The strip of sod was exactly 12 inches wide and so straight as if it had been cut by hand. So yeah, you got like a matted old lawn. Instead of just digging down, it just kind of goes and just like flips the whole mess over so the topsoil's on top. It's great. You can totally plan that. It's totally doable. They were all so happy about that new plow. Well, I guess so, and that's what you do all day, plant stuff. Now, after a whole day's work, Sam and David gaily lay down and rolled and pricked their ears and looked about the prairie before they fell to cropping grass. They were not being worn down, sad and gaunt by breaking sod that spring. And at supper, Pa was not too tired to joke. Even the horses are going, "Nay!" like rolling around in the grass. It's fabulous. "By jingo, that plow can handle the work by itself," he said. "With all these new inventions nowadays, there's no use for man's muscle." Oh yeah, it's like the 1870s. They're like newfangled things. "One of these nights, that plow will take a notion to keep on going, and we'll look out in the morning and see it's turned over an acre or two after the team and I quit for the night." Artificial intelligence plow. See, Paul is thinking. He is on it. He's ready to invent the robot plow. A Roomba! Like a Roomba plow. You just put the batteries in it. It's like, it does the whole field. I want a Roomba plow. That's the new thing we're going to invent. The strips of sod lay bottom side up over the furrows with all their cut grass roots showing speckled in the earth. The fresh furrow was delightfully cool and soft to the bare feet. And often Grace and Carrie followed behind the plow playing. Laura would have liked to, but she was going on 15 years old now, too old to play in the fresh, clean-smelling dirt. Besides, in the afternoons, Mary must go for a walk to get some sunshine. They know. Even though she's blind, she still needs the sunshine because bones, vitamin D, yes. And I don't think they knew. No. Vitamin D, I don't think so. I have an encyclopedia. Seriously, my mother left me. I have the Encyclopedia Britannica, the big set of books, but from 1911. And it's amazing because you read it and you go, why isn't there oh, right, not invented yet. There's nothing. There's and vitamins, it's like, what's a vitamin? It's not there. They have no idea. They go, this food is good for you. Why? I don't know. It's like vitamin C. Vitamin who? Yeah. I have no idea. But they figured out the sunshine was good for you. It's vitamin D. There you go. All right. So when the morning's work was done, Laura took Mary walking over the prairie. Spring flowers were blossoming and cloud shadows were trailing over the grassy slopes. It was odd that when they were little, Mary had been the older and often bossy. But now that they were older, they seemed to be the same age. They liked the long walks together in the wind and the sunshine, picking violets and buttercups, and eating sheep sorrel. Those are those little things in the field. You can eat those sheep sorrel. Apparently it's good for you. The sheep sorrels, lovely curled lavender blossoms, the clover-shaped leaves, and the thin stems had a tangy taste. Oh, I've seen those. A similar plant in California. We always said, oh, it's clover, and would eat them. It's not clover, it's sheep sorrel, but we always said clover because it's a flower. You could eat it. We just kind of went, yeah. Sheep sorrel. Sheep sorrel tastes like springtime, Laura said. She's like writing commercial copy. I love it. It really tastes a little like lemon flavoring, Laura, Mary gently corrected her. Before she ate sheep sorrel, she always asked, did you look carefully? You're sure there isn't a bug on it? There never are any bugs, Laura protested. These prairies are so clean. There never was such a clean place. You look just the same, said Mary. I don't want to eat the only bug in the whole of Dakota Territory. They laughed together. Mary was so light-hearted now. She often made such little jokes. Her face was so serene in her sunbonnet. Her blue eyes were so clear, and her voice so gay that she did not seem to be walking in darkness. Oh, I'm glad, because she was pretty cranky. Seriously, because I was noticing that in the book. After she went blind, she was quite bossy and quite snappy, Laura. So, sounds much better. Now, that's good. There could be bugs on it. I mean, not a lot of bugs, but there's sometimes. But that's good. You want to watch out for that. But yeah, Mary's not into such. She's like, it tastes like lemon. But Laura, she's a writer. She's like, it tastes like springtime. And Mary's like, springtime? No. What does that mean? She's not on the same wavelength there. Mary had always been good. Sometimes she'd been so good that Laura could hardly bear it. But now she seemed different. Once Laura asked her about it. You used to try all the time to be good, Laura said. And you always were good. It made me so mad sometimes I wanted to slap you. But now you are good without even trying. Mary stopped still. Oh, Laura, how awful. Do you ever want to slap me now? No, never, Laura answered honestly. You honestly don't? You aren't just being gentle to me because I'm blind? No, really, honestly, no, Mary. I hardly think about your being blind. I'm just glad you're my sister. I wish I could be like you. But I guess I never can be, Laura sighed. I don't know how you could be so good. I'm not really, Mary told her. I do try. But if you could see how rebellious and mean I feel sometimes, if you could see what I really am inside, oh, you wouldn't want to be like me. The truth comes out! Well, in the musical, yes, there is a musical, of Little House on the Prairie, which I saw a couple times. Melissa Gilbert played Ma, and it toured, and it was amazing. It was amazing. A couple years ago, I did a musical. There's a song, because of this stuff, where Laura sings a song called So Good about how Mary's being so good is driving her nuts. That she's like, how are you this good? And you're making me crazy. So yeah, there you go. So good. I can see what you're like inside, Laura contradicted. It shows all the time. You're always perfectly patient and you're never the least bit mean. I know why you wanted to slap me, Mary said. It was because I was showing off. I wasn't really wanting to be good. I was showing off to myself what a good little girl I was and being vain and proud. I deserve to be slapped for it. Laura was shocked. I would be too. Then suddenly she felt that she had known that all the time. But nevertheless, it was not true of Mary. She said, no, you're not like that. Not really. You are good. We are all desperately wicked and inclined to evil as the sparks fly upwards, said Mary, using the Bible words. But that doesn't matter. Whoa, we're all desperately wicked and inclined. Mary, chill. Wait, that's like that episode when Mary goes to teach and the crazy lady is like, Jezebel! Wait, I totally look like her with this bonnet. Jezebel! she's like talking like that. Well, Mary is real. She's a hardliner. But she brings up a good point that sometimes there are people who are, they're good. They are good. They're just, they're based, their nature is they're generally kind of chill. And so they're very nice and they're very pleasant. And then there are people who are, okay, it's the church lady, the sketch, you know, where they're like, I am so good and holier than everybody and perfect and holier than, and that's where people go, why do I want to slap this person? And they're trying to be, yes, it's fine, so good. And it's an act, and you can tell it's an act. And they're trying to, as Mary said, just show off, like, look how perfect I am, as opposed to just sort of in a normal way going, yes, I actually kind of feel like being nice right now. She like, remember Mary never ever said, no, I'm never sad. No, I'm not hungry. It's okay. I'm not mad. No, give my food to Bob. Yeah. But she's admitting, no, sometimes I was in a horrible mood and I hated everyone. Yes, I was putting on an act. But yeah, but she is basically a good person. Now she's a hardliner. She says, oh no, we're all wicked. I think Mary needs to cut herself some slack. I think Mary needs to calm down and accept that she is kind of good. But that's an interesting thing that she admits that she was showing off, that she was laying it on a little thick. And that's why Laura was saying, why am I having this feeling of wanting to slap her? That is why. So there you go. She knows. Desperately wicked. Eek! And she says, but that doesn't matter. What? cried Laura, because Laura, like us, is going, where did that come from? I mean, I don't believe we ought to think so much about ourselves, about whether we are bad or good, Mary explained. But my goodness, how can anybody be good without thinking about it, Laura demanded. I don't know. I guess we couldn't, Mary admitted. I don't know how to say what I mean very well, but it isn't as much thinking as just knowing, just being sure of the goodness of God. Laura stood still, and so did Mary, because she dared not step without Laura's arm and hers guiding her. There Mary stood in the midst of the green and flowery miles of grass, rippling in the wind under the great blue sky and white clouds sailing, and she could not see it. Everyone knows that God is good, but it seemed to Laura then that Mary must be sure of it in some special way. You are sure, aren't you? Laura said. Yes, I am sure of it now all the time, Mary answered. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. Oh, hi, is this familiar? Yes, it is the 23rd Psalm, and it's also a whole episode of Little House on the Prairie, Lord is my shepherd, and they did this 23rd Psalm on the show all the time. And here it is in the book, showing that indeed it was something that the Ingalls really said. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. I think that's the loveliest psalm of all. Why are we stopping here? I don't smell the violets. We came by the buffalo wallow talking, said Laura. We'll go back that way. When they turned back, Laura could see the low swell of land sloping up from the coarse grasses of the big slough to the little claim shanty. It looked hardly larger than a hen coop, with its half roof slanting up and stopping. The sod stable hardly showed in the wild grasses. Beyond them, Ellen and the 2 calves were grazing, and to the east, Pa was planting corn in the newly broken sod. He had broken all the sod he had time to before the ground grew too dry. He had harrowed the ground he had broken last year and sowed it to oats. Now, with a sack of seed corn fastened to a shoulder harness and the hoe in his hand, he was going slowly across the sod field. So he broke earth for oats, but he just kind of flipped it over to do sod corn. So, yeah, 2 for 1 there. Pa is planting the corn, Laura told Mary. Let's go by that way. Here's the buffalo wallow now. I know, said Mary. They stood a moment, breathing in deeply the perfume of warm violets that came up as thick as honey. The buffalo wallow, perfectly round and set down in the prairie like a dish 3 or 4 feet deep, was solidly paved with violets. Thousands, millions, crowded so thickly that they hid their own leaves. Mary sank down among them. She breathed. Her fingers delicately felt over the masses of petals and down the thin stems to pick them. When they passed by the sod field, Pa breathed in a deep smell of the violets, too. Oh, had a nice walk, girls? He smiled at them, but he did not stop working. He mellowed a spot of earth with the hoe, dug a tiny hollow in it, and dropped 4 kernels of corn in the hollow, covered them with the hoe, pressed the spot firm with his boot, and then stepped on to plant the next hill. So he used his shoes to plant it. Dig in, plonk your foot on it, so you get that corn in there. All right. Carrie came hurrying to bury her nose in the violets. She was minding Grace, and Grace would play nowhere but in the field where Pa was. Angel worms fascinated Grace. Every time Pa struck the hoe into the ground, she watched for one and chuckled to see the thin, long worm make itself fat and short, pushing itself quickly into the earth again. Ew, the worms. But, well, yeah, that's good. It means the ground's fertile, right? You get the worms in there. It's good for the earth. But, ew. Even when it's cut in two, both halves do that, she said. Why, Pa? They want to get into the ground, I guess, said Pa. Why, Pa? Grace asked him. Oh, they just want to, said Pa. But why do they want to, Pa? She must be that age, right? Why do you like to play in the dirt, Pa asked her. Why, Pa? Grace said. How many corns do you drop, Pa? Kernels, said Pa. 4 kernels. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 4. Grace said, but why, Pa? There's an easy one, said Pa. Oh, he's got an answer for this one. 1 for the blackbird, 1 for the crow, and that, 1 for the blackbird and 1 for the crow, and that will leave just 2 to grow. Well, that makes sense. It's true. They're out on the prairie, and there's like birds and bugs and everything, so you're going to plant 4 kernels because you might get, like, one of them here. Heavens. The garden was growing now. In tiny rows of different greens, the radishes. I love radishes. Do you love radishes? I love radishes. The radishes, lettuce, onions were up. The first crumpled leaves of peas were pushing upward. The young tomatoes stood on thin stems, spreading out their first lacy foliage. I've been looking at the garden. It needs hoeing, Ma said, while Laura set the violets in water to perfume the supper table. They smelled so strong, you could put these violets in a little thing and just make the whole... This was their airwick freshener. They had that. And I do believe the beans will be up any day now. It's turned so warm. I like gardening too. All one hot morning, the beans were popping out of the ground. Grace discovered them and came shrieking with excitement to tell Ma. All that morning, she could not be coaxed away from watching them. Up from the bare earth, bean after bean was popping, its stem uncoiling like a steel spring. And up in the sunshine, the halves of the split bean still clutched 2 pale twin leaves. Every time a bean popped up, Grace squealed again. They do grow so fast you can almost see them. It's great if you ever grow beans because they do. And they do the 2 little bean pods are like hanging off. It's great fun. Excuse me, I'm going to sneeze now. Wait. I have the air conditioning on. I've got to turn it off. It's like going to make me all sneezy. Beans are fun. Beans and corn, tomatoes. I love this garden. So that sounds great. Yummers. So now that the corn was planted, Pa built the missing half of the claim shanty. Okay, he's finally going to finish the house they're living in so they don't freeze. Good-ya. Okay. Everyone's going gesundheit. God bless you. Thank you. That's way. Gesundheit. Yes, every language we're getting. He's finally building the rest of the claim shanty. One morning, he laid the floor joints, then he made the frame, and Laura helped him raise it and hold it straight to the plumb line while he nailed it. He put in the studding and the frames for 2 windows. Then he laid the rafters to make the other slant of the roof that had not been there before. They had like half a house with a little roofy slant. Terrible. Laura helped him all the time. Carrie and Grace watched and picked up every nail that Pa dropped by mistake. Even Ma often spent minutes in idleness looking on. It was exciting to see the shanty being made into a house. And about time, Pa. He is the worst procrastinator ever. Have you ever heard of him? When it was done, they had 3 rooms. Ooh, that's like a lot for them. The new part was 2 tiny bedrooms, each with a window. Now the beds would not be in the front room anymore. I think. Here's where we kill 2 birds with 1 stone, said Ma. We'll combine spring house cleaning and moving. They washed the window curtains and all the quilts and hung them out to dry. Then they washed the new windows till they shone, and hung on them new curtains made of old sheets and beautifully hemmed with Mary's tiny stitches. Ma and Laura set up the bedsteads in the new rooms, all made of fresh, clean-smelling boards. Laura and Carrie filled the straw ticks with the brightest hay from the middle of a haystack, with the clean stuff. And they made up the beds with sheets still warm from Ma's ironing, and with the clean quilts smelling of the prairie air. Then Ma and Laura scrubbed and scoured every inch of the old shanty that was now the front room. It was spacious now, with no beds in it, only the cook stove and cupboards and the table and chairs and the whatnot. I think the whatnot in the corner. When it was perfectly clean and everything in place, they all stood and admired it. Well, now it's like a living room. It's like a nice living room with a little dining area, like a regular, house. It's cool. You needn't see it for me, Laura, Mary said. I can feel how large and fresh and pretty it is. The fresh starched white curtains moved softly in the wind at the open window. The scrubbed board walls and the floor were soft yellow gray. A bouquet of grass flowers and wildflowers that Carrie had picked and put in the blue bowl on the table seemed to bring springtime in. Those do smell great. If you've ever fresh picked wildflowers, they do smell awfully good. And, if you don't, back then, there's no air freshener, there's no Lysol, they're not burning incense, they don't have, room fresheners that smell like Glade and lemon and stuff. That was it. Flowers. And if you got a breeze going through the window to go, that was mighty good. That's what I'm saying. In the corner, the varnished brown whatnot stood stylish and handsome. The afternoon light made plain the gilded titles of the books on the whatnot's lower shelf. Titles in gold on the books. And glittered in the 3 glass boxes on the shelf above, each with tiny flowers painted on it. Above them, on the next shelf, the gilt flowers shone on the glass face of the clock, and its brass pendulum glinted, swinging to and fro. Higher still, on the very top shelf, was Laura's white china jewel box, with the wee gold cup and saucer on its lid, and beside it, watching over it, sat Carrie's brown and white china dog. Remember they got all there was some of the scenes from last week's show when they got all the cool stuff at the Christmas party. Still got it all on their cute little shelves. On the wall, between the doors of the new bedrooms, Ma hung the wooden bracket that Pa had carved for her Christmas present long ago in the big woods of Wisconsin. Every little flower and leaf, the small vine on the edge of the little shelf, and the larger vines, climbing to the large star at the top, were still as perfect as when he had carved them with his jackknife. Older, still older than Laura could remember, Ma's china shepherdess stood pink and white and smiling on the shelf. It was a beautiful room. Aww! That's pretty cool. That is really cool. Okay, those were short. We're only up to page 18. Is this long? If this is long, I'm gonna wait till tomorrow. No, it is kind of long. Sneak it in. It's cute. All right. Happy days. Is that long? I'm trying to figure out because I'm going to sneak in a third. You know me. I'll sneak in a third on you. Well, I haven't been here in days, so I'm going to sneak in a third. I'm going to do chapter 3. You're getting a 3 because that first one was so short, and I haven't been here in weeks. Also, I can't resist because chapter 3 is called The Necessary Cat. You know how I love cats. Cookie crumbs all over my face. It's terrible. Yeah, so this is real peanut butter and butter and flour and sugar, white sugar, brown sugar, and some chocolate chips. So this is really good. Oh, look at that! Yes, that's Cindy. That she's putting up the link to my show. That is correct, on June 25th, which will be a Thursday. I know I did them on a Saturday night. Thursday night, go figure. I will be live from the other end of the living room, doing my show, Confessions of a Prairie Terror, and there'll be questions. There'll be questions and answers. It'll be fabulous. So I'll be doing that, and that'll be fun. So that's the 25th. Sunday. Living on a Prairie. They've been doing those things, the episodes. And there's an interview. We had Karen Grassley last week. This Sunday, it's my episode. It's the episode I'm in, and it's really good. Okay, it's like my best work. I'm sorry. It's really good. It's really good. I have the seed and it's like really good and I like it. So there you go. And then I'm interviewed and it's fun. So the necessary cat, because I am cuckoo for kitty cats and I have a kitty cat and I love that. And I'm thinking of getting a second kitty cat because kitty cat needs a friend. But I think all cats are necessary. So necessary cat. Now, the first yellow-green spears of corn were dotted like fluttering ribbon ends along the furrows of broken sod. One evening, Pa walked across the field to look at them. He came back tired and exasperated. "I've got to replant more than half the cornfield," he said. "Oh, man, like what now? It's like locusts, it's disease, now it's happening." "Oh, Pa, why?" Laura asked. "Gophers," said Pa. "Oh, no. Well, this is what a man gets for putting in the first corn in a new country." Grace was hugging her legs. He picked her up and tickled her cheek with his beard to make her laugh. She remembered the planting rhyme, and sitting on his knee, she chanted it proudly. "One for the blackbird, one for the crow, and that will leave just two to grow." "The man that made that up was an Easterner," Pa said. "Out here in the territory, we'll have to make up our own rhyme, Grace. How's this for a try? One for a gopher, two for a gopher, three for a gopher, and four don't go far." Oh, groan. Dad joke. Pa tells the first dad joke. And everyone groans. Yes, okay. But gophers. We had gophers. You know where we filmed? Out in Simi Valley, where we pretended we were in Minnesota. Prairie dogs. We had little gophers. We had gophers and prairie. They were so cute. They were so cute. But yes, they'll eat your corn. "Oh, Charles," Ma protested, laughing. She did not think puns were funny, but she could not help laughing at the naughty look Pa gave her when he made one. "One for gopher, two for gopher, three for gopher, four don't gopher." Oh, dear. He had no sooner planted the seed corn than the striped gophers found it. All over the field, they had been scampering and stopping to dig into little spots of fine soil with their tiny paws. It was a wonder that they knew exactly where the kernels were buried. It was amazing that those little gophers, scampering, digging, sitting up straight and nibbling each one at one kernel of corn held in its paws, had eaten more than half the field of corn. Well, they're striped gophers. See, you know what they sound like? They sound like Chip and Dale, but they were supposed to be chipmunks. They sound like the little cartoon ones going, "Oh, yes, oh, thank you, after you, no, after you. Oh, let's go eat the English corn, shall we, shall." That's what I think they were. Little monsters. They're pests, said Pa. "I wish we had a cat like old Black Susan used to be. She'd have thinned them out." Remember, in Little House in the Big Woods, they had a cat. They had a black cat, like my Morticia. They had a beautiful black cat named Black Susan, and she mice, rats, not a chance. So they think maybe a cat. "I need a cat in the house too, Ma, great, I declare. The mice are getting so thick I can't leave food uncovered in the cupboard." "Is there a cat to be had, Charles?" "It's right there out in the country. Mice gonna come in the house, gophers in the field, there'll be rats in the barn." That's why people get cats. "There's not a cat in this whole country that I know of," Pa answered. "The storekeepers in town are complaining too. Wilmore's talking of getting a cat shipped out from the east." It's the idea, like, hurry, we need a cat, like shipping a cat out on the train. It's like hilarious. But there you go. Cats were, absolutely, they were about getting varmints. And he says country, they don't say this area of the country. They just go this, like it's a country. It's its own country, because it's like not even part of the United States. Amazing. There's no cats in this country. Shipped out from the east. Oh my God. That very night, Laura was startled out of a sound sleep. Through the partition between the bedrooms, she heard a gasp, a grunt, and a sudden thud of something small and squashing. Doesn't sound good. She heard Ma say, "Charles, what is it?" I dreamed it," Pa said low. I dreamed a barber was cutting my hair." Ma spoke low too, because this was the middle of the night and the house was asleep. "It was only a dream. Lie down again and let me have some of the covers back." Typical. "I heard the barber shear go snip, snip," said Pa. And if he's anything like Michael Landon, he doesn't like getting his hair cut. "Well, lie down and go to sleep," Ma yawned. "My hair was being cut," said Pa. "I never knew you to be upset by a dream before," Ma yawned again. "Oh, lie down, turn over, and you won't go on dreaming it." "Carolyn, my hair was being cut," Pa repeated. "Okay, ghost barber?" "No." What do you mean? Ma asked, more awake now. I'm telling you, Pa said. In my sleep, I put up my hand. Here, feel my head. Charles, your hair's been cut. Ma exclaimed. Laura heard her sit up in bed. I can feel it. There's a place on your head. Yep, that's the spot, said Pa. I put up my hand. Ma interrupted. A place as big as my hand, shorn clean off. I put up my hands upon and I took hold of something. What? What was it, Ma asked. I think, said Pa. I think it was a mouse. Where is it? Ma cried out. I don't know. I threw it away as hard as I could, said Pa. Oh, my goodness, Ma said weakly. It must have been a mouse cutting off your hair to make itself a nest. Ew. Okay, yeah, like they do that, but like, ew, you're asleep and little animals might coming and biting off hunks of your hair to coming to like, what? That's disgusting. I'm so happy I have a cat. That's pretty gross. Yikes and yikes. Ew, ew, ew. To make it self a nest. Gross. After a minute, Pa said, Caroline, I swear. No, Charles, Ma murmured. Well, I would swear if I did that I can't lie awake nights to keep mice out of my hair. I do wish we had a cat, Ma wished hopelessly. Sure enough, in the morning, a mouse lay dead by the bedroom wall where Pa had thrown it. Wow, he threw it really hard. Do you know how hard you would have to throw a mouse to actually kill it from the impact? I mean, they're little squishy things. Rats and mice, I mean, they flatten themselves and go under doors. They have, like, elastic skeletons. So to actually fling a mouse and kill it, yikes. Let's get him on the ball team. I'm scared. Sure enough, dead. And Pa appeared at breakfast with an almost bare spot on the back of his head, where the mouse had shorn his hair away. Ew, took like all his hair. He would not have minded so much, but there was not time for the hair to grow before he must go to a meeting of county commissioners. Oh, great. It's a huge meeting in town, and they chopped his hair off. The country was settling so rapidly that already a county was being organized, and Pa must help. As the oldest settler, he could not shirk his duty. The meeting was to be held at Whiting's homestead claim, 4 miles northeast of town. No doubt Mrs. Whiting would be there, and Pa could not keep his hat on. Right, there's going to be a lady. He's going to a formal business meeting, got to take his hat off, and a mouse has literally eaten his hair. Now, I've heard of waking up and having a bad hair day. That's crazy. That's the worst. Okay, frightening. And just like always before like a big meeting or an interview, something happens to your hair, you get a zip. Here he is with his hair chewed off by a mouse. That's really terrible. Yikes. Never mind, Ma consoled him. Just tell them how it happened. Likely they have mice. There'll be more important things to talk about, said Pa. No, better just let them think this is the way my wife cuts my hair. Charles, you wouldn't, Ma exclaimed before she saw he was teasing her. When he drove away in the wagon that morning, he told Ma not to expect him for dinner. He had a 10-mile drive to make on top of his time spent at the meeting. It was supper time when he came driving to the stable. He unhitched and came hurrying to the house so quickly that he met Carrie and Grace running out. Girls, Caroline, he called out. Guess what I've brought you. His hand was in his pocket and his eyes were twinkling. Candy, Carrie and Grace answered together at one-track minds. Better than that, said Pa. A letter? Ma asked. A paper, Mary guessed. Maybe the advance. Laura was watching Pa's pocket. She was certain that something, not Pa's hand, was moving inside it. Let Mary see it first, Pa warned the others. He took his hand from his pocket. There on his palm lay a tiny blue and white kitten. A blue kitten? Where'd he get blue? Like Prussian blue? Great, but like a blue and white kitten. It's a kitten! Kittens. He laid it carefully in Mary's hand. She stroked its soft fur with a fingertip. Gently she touched its tiny ears and its nose and its wee paws. A kitten, she said wonderingly. Such a very little kitten. Its eyes aren't open yet, Laura told her. Its baby fur is blue as tobacco smoke, and its face and its breast and its paws and the very tip of its tail are white. Its claws are the tiniest wee white things. Wow. Okay, I've had cats that had kittens in the house until we had kittens that eyes weren't open yet, but they were still nursing and the cat was there. I don't know. That's much. Do you take a kitten? Its eyes is not open yet. Talk about not weaned. It's not no, you're supposed to let them stay with the mother way past eyes, but like weeks before they're here. You get a kid. I mean, our dear Morticia was a rescue, and she had been somehow separated from her mommy when she was really tiny, and so her fur stuck out weird, and she had like, you know, tummy trouble and digestive issues because she was weaned too soon. So this poor little thing, oh, that's too young. But look how cute. Look how cute. Look, there they are. Are you kidding? Our kittens are cute. They're going to have to bottle feed the poor thing. How are they going to manage, poor little thing? It's too small. See, and Pa knows. Here you go. He knows. So tiniest white things. They are all bent over. The soft, blind little kitten in Mary's hand. It opened its pink mouth in a silent mew. It's too small to take from its mother, Pa said. Yes, hello, thank you. But I had to take it while I had the chance, before somebody else did. Whiting had the cat sent out to them from the east. She had 5 kittens, and they sold 4 of them today for 50 cents apiece. You didn't pay 50 cents for this kitten, Pa? Laura asked him wide-eyed. Yes, I did, said Pa. That is one expensive cat. Back then, 50 cents. 50 cents for a cat. Back to woof. Quickly, Ma said, I don't blame you, Charles. A cat in this house will be well worth it. I guess if a mouse is just eating your hair, you'd probably pay anything for a cat. But it's a little baby. It can't even open its eyes. It can't go kill mice. The mice would eat it. So he's going to have to take care of that kitten and like bottle feed it. What are they going to do? Can we raise such a little kitten? Mary asked anxiously. Good point. Oh, yes, Ma assured them. We will have to feed it often. Wash its eyes carefully and keep it warm. Laura, find a small box and pick out the softest, warmest scraps from the scrap bag. Laura made a snug, soft nest for the kitten in a pasteboard box while Ma warmed some milk. They all watched while Ma took the kitten in her hand and fed it a drop of milk at a time from a teaspoon. The kitten's wee paws clutched at the spoon, and its pink mouth tried to suck, and drop by drop it sucked the warm milk through, though some ran down its chin. Then they put it in its nest, and under Mary's warm hand it snuggled down to sleep. It has 9 lives like any cat, and it will live all right, said Ma. You'll see. Oh! So tomorrow will be happy days. We'll put this in here. It's true, you can't. I mean, that kitten is way too young. That's like crazy. But like he said, people were taking those cats because they all had mice and rats and gophers. So cats were like a hot item that day. So he kind of had to. But Ma's right. If you put them, do you ever have like a super duper baby little rescue kitten and you can't believe it was mommy? You put it in the box, the soft cloth. And in the olden days, what we used to do with our kitties, if we had kittens that were too young, put it in the box, the cloth, and a clock, like an old wind up alarm clock. Like now, I guess you get a travel clock. But a clock that went tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, and you'd wrap it in a blanket and stick it in there, and the poor little kitten would curl up against it and think it was its mom's heartbeat. So cute, poor little things. But it would feel secure. It would go to sleep and purr. And then we had eyedroppers. We didn't have to use spoons, but you get an eyedropper and bottle feed the little tiny kitten. And we had to do that back then. So they didn't even have an eyedropper. She's just got a spoon. It's like, so, and you have to wash their eyes because they're not open yet. And the mother cat would be washing their eyes every day. So you have to nurse a little baby kitten. That's what he said. But they're going to have a kitty. It's not a kitty. It's going to be white. I guess it's white and gray. But it's like blue. It's so young. My kitty Morticia, we thought she might be gray. She was sort of dark gray, smoky colored, and her fur was like all over the place. And then she turned into this black, gleaming patent leather, sleek, gorgeous panther, baby panther. Because she was just, a little young, but good kitty. Cats are it, man. Cats are the way to go. They do. It's not even so much they eat the mice, although they can. They scare the mice. Mice generally, like people I know in New York who have cats, the mice and the rats, they smell there's a cat in your apartment and they're gone. So get a cat. Cats are the way to go. So yay. So I'm sitting here with all my fabulous Chief Sleepy Eye Minnesota stuff. My cookie. My cup. Now tomorrow. Right, Morticia, Cadita, Parlez-vous. Tomorrow we're going to read The Happy Days. That was a competing show. Oh, and then Working in Town, because she's going to go to work. Eek! So that'll be fun. Now, tomorrow is Saturday. We are probably going to be late. We may not be at 1:30 tomorrow because we're doing more interviews. This Living on a Prairie, as I said, this whole thing with Pamela Bob, which is hysterical. So Sunday, it's like my episode showing. And then I'll read after that. But Saturday, some of us from the show, Little House, are getting together and doing some interviews because we're doing this huge, big old thing for next week where we will have a whole bunch of the cast, and it's a benefit for the Actors Fund. So I'm going to be very, very, very busy on Saturday, and I may have to be later than 1:30. I'm thinking 2? I don't know. I'll post. But yes, probably 2 with the book. But we will do this tomorrow, and who knows what I'll have to eat. But nice peanut butter cookies are amazing. You guys are awesome. Wash your hands, stay safe. June 25th is my show here. Sunday, I'm doing the Living on a Prairie thing here on Facebook. Bonnets. We have bonnets. We have 2 kinds of bonnets now. We have 2 kinds of bonnets. We have this kind of bonnet, and then we have this kind of bonnet. So we have 2 kinds of bonnets from 2 different places. And we have tin cups, and we have books, and we have everything. Also cameos. People are booking me wearing Cameo to go, hi, happy birthday. I'd make cute little videos. It's awesome. There's also this wonderful Coach the World. You can look on the internet, Coach the World. I'm on there, and now a bunch of people from Little House on the Prairie are on there. Rodimus Para, who was John Jr. on Little House, and also Grasshopper from Kung Fu. Yes, he was Little Grasshopper in Kung Fu. He's on there, and Baby Grace, Wendy Lee is on there. So we're all popping up on there. Coach the World is cool. That's where you buy a thing, and you get a video. You get like a video 101 call, a little celebrity meet and greet. So that's fun. So Coach the World. There's Cameo. There's my stageit.com on June 25th. Things are just like constantly happening. Yes, there you are. So tomorrow, probably later than 1:30, and really this is all. I'm not going to read her whole letter. I don't want to embarrass her. It's really sweet. It's very personal. It's very sweet. But raisin bread and peanut butter oatmeal colossals. Oh, I still have peanut butter and oatmeal. I can make those. Very nice. People, you're so nice. You send me things. You make stuff. Very, very creative. Very clever. Love it. So, I gotta go play with my itty bitty little kitty. Yeah, she's huge now, big black cat. She wants me to play with her, and I'm gonna do that. And then there's my garden because I'm not planting corn, but I gotta check on the tomatoes. I got crops, and there you are. And it's gonna be a toasty one today here. So now. Take care. Wash your hands. Hand sanitizer is back in a lot of stores, so clean. Take care of yourself. And really, the mask thing, these things are great. Look, you can get pretty ones. They're fine. They're lovely. And I like what they're just adorable. And I have several here, and yeah, I can totally breathe. You can breathe through them. You get the right kind. You can breathe. Look, my gardeners wear masks, and guys who paint your house wear masks, and people who polish the floor wear masks, and manicures wear masks, and doctors wear masks, and they're fine. So you can get you the right kind of mask. Make sure it fits properly. Make sure it's the right material. You can breathe through the mask, but it's just enough. Is that just enough that those little droplets, because some poor person, they don't know they're sick. They don't know they have it. And they sneeze on you. I just sneezed. What if I had just sneezed and you were sitting right there and I didn't have on a mask? So yeah, germs, they're everywhere. So yeah, wear the mask. It's very helpful. You might have it and not know, and you wouldn't want you. So wear the masks, clean, wash your hands, and just be careful. People are going out. I know people are going out. They're opening. Things are opening. Things at the shopping malls, they're opening. But you don't have to get that close. You don't have to slobber on each other. You can go out and oh, hi, yeah, you did that. Do you know, they say that the transmission of this terrible disease of COVID-19 has been generally indoor settings, inside a restaurant, a club, a house, a hospital facility, indoors. Outdoors, you have more room. It's a little roomier, a little safer. People, close quarters. People are close quarters. No. So be careful, and wash your hands, and bake some cookies. Make something. Sew a bag. I don't know. Do something creative. Take up painting. People are painting. They paint gorgeous things. Do something fun and creative. Call your friends. Go sit in the sun. It's going to be fine eventually. See you tomorrow.